The appointed hour has arrived. For San Antonio, the cold reality of their plight awaits. An oppressive 3-1 deficit. An adversary driven mad by the prospect of dousing the dynasty's flame. And the agent of LA's wrath, a man who prides himself on an overly developed killer instinct. But there is hope, built on a decade's worth of dominance. If the Spurs can repel the inevitable barrage, the conference finals will not end tonight. It's win or go home. Spurs-Lakers, Game 5 is next.
On this Thursday evening in Los Angeles, California, we could have our first NBA finalists. That is, if the Los Angeles Lakers are able to win Game 5 and put away the defending champions, the San Antonio Spurs. They lead it 3-1 as Manu Ginobili and the San Antonio Spurs try to stay alive and force the series back to San Antonio. Kobe Bryant and the Lakers have other ideas as we approach the tip about 15 minutes from now here from Staples Center. It's TNT NBA Tip-Off presented by Autotrader.com. Thanks for being with us for Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals here on TNT. Ernie Johnson and Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, Kenny the Jet Smith, and in just a bit, Craig Sager will be along to speak with Doug Collins about the reports that Doug will take the Chicago Bulls head coaching job. That's still to come. But we pick up where we left off the other night. You weren't here the other night. We haven't heard you weigh in on what we saw at the tail end of Game 4. Last play, Brent Barry fouled or not fouled by Derek Fisher. There was no call. The NBA, in response to questions yesterday, said upon reviewing the replay, a foul should have been called. What is your take, Magic?
Well, I think that there was contact, definitely. Now it's up to the official to make the call. I've seen this play be called both ways. I know that Brent wish he should have jumped into him and then let the ball go, and for sure a foul would have been called. But unfortunately, it wasn't called. Pat Riley used to say something to us all the time when we lose a game like that. He would say to us, I don't want to have nobody complain about the officials. I don't care what you think. You just didn't deserve to win the game. And so sometimes that apply in this situation. Yes, it was foul, contact. The foul wasn't called. You just move on from here.
Hey, let me just say this.
Go ahead.
That was 100% asinine and stupid for the NBA to come out and say there should have been a foul call. Number one, they didn't call it. And all they're going to do is talk up, the stupid talk radio, the conspiracy theories that they want the Lakers and the Celtics in the final. I thought that was totally stupid of them to hang those officials out to dry, number one. Hey, they didn't call it. Brent Barry should have jumped into him, but he didn't. But for them to come out and say those officials were wrong, what point did it prove?
Has your view of that play changed over the last 48 hours now that everybody's talked about it? It's been on TV 3 billion and 6 times.
Well, it's funny because on the plane ride over, I was talking to Marv Albert. I'm just surprised at the level of acceptance that the San Antonio Spurs had in the moment. Forget about afterwards and saying, okay, we didn't deserve to win. You should have jumped in. But in that moment, they had no emotion about Brent Barry. Right. Now, I thought two reasons. I said maybe because Brent Barry is not used to being accustomed to being in that situation, so the team said this guy shouldn't have been in that situation either. And the second reason is maybe they didn't think it was a foul either. But their level of acceptance just surprised me that these guys, if you did that in Philadelphia, Detroit, New York, I don't know it would have been a riot in the arena.
If as we look ahead now to this Game 5, for San Antonio to stay alive, what do they have to do?
They can't stay alive. The Lakers are a better team. They're younger. The Spurs, I got great admiration for their organization. I love their coach. Obviously, I love my man Ginobili, Parker, and Duncan. But listen, they're an older team. The younger team is just better. They're going to win this game tonight.
Setting aside your Laker ties, if that is possible, I know you're going to be watching this game as a part owner and an executive for this team. But what's the biggest mistake the Lakers could make coming in with a chance to close out a series tonight?
Well, I think not knowing how to close out or taking it for granted that they're going to win the game. Because if they don't come out with high energy and make this crowd get into it early, come out, make sure they don't turn the ball over. Because how you going to get beat tonight is turnovers and not hitting a board. If San Antonio comes out and play like they did in game 1 here, and remember they went up 20 points,
exactly,
they have a chance to win because the Lakers didn't come out and get this crowd going until the fourth quarter. So if they come out and make that same mistake tonight, the Lakers could lose the game.
So many second chance points in game 4 for the Lakers, a huge advantage there. If you're the Spurs, how do you stay alive tonight, Kenny?
Well, the first thing, I think we talked about this maybe a month ago. You have to be delusional. You're down 3-1. You have to have such supreme confidence. I've been fortunate to be on a team that was down 3-1 and come back to win. But we always said, you know what? If we win this one, there's no way we're going to lose back in Houston with San Antonio, say, back in San Antonio. And then in Game 7, anything can happen. So you have to be delusional, and you have to have a beast. Somebody has to have a beast of a game. Tim Duncan has to go for 40 and 20 for them to win.
In this building, since game 1, when it was 65-45, the Spurs have been outscored. Again, in this building, 145-91. Game 5 is just around the corner.
Mamba.
And when we come back, Doug Collins speaks with Craig Sager. We'll be back.
Welcome back to the Autotrader.com preview show. I'm Craig Sager along with Doug Collins. Doug reports all over the place that you'll be the next coach of the Chicago Bulls. Have they offered you the job, and have you accepted?
I have not been offered. I have not accepted. I've had conversations with John Paxson and Jerry Reinsdorf. Jerry Reinsdorf has been a friend of mine for the last 20 years, so he and I have spoken on a lot of occasions over the last 20 years, but we have spoken with Pax, and the whole thing is there's interest on both sides, and as soon as the Western Conference Finals are over, which is what my number one priority is, we've agreed to sit down and talk to see exactly what's there.
The last 5 years, all we've heard, I'm not going back to coaching. I want to spend more time with my grandkids. How did the Bulls even get you interested in the job?
Well, I think it was my son, Chris. I felt all along that if I ever wanted to do it, the one person that was always very hesitant was my son, Chris. And he called me the other day, and he said, Dad, I think that you're a head coach, and I think that there's situations that'd be great for you, and I want you to pursue those things. So it was really my son, Chris. My daughter, Kelly, and my wife, Kathy, have always been sort of behind whatever I've wanted to do kind of thing, but Chris was always the reluctant one, and he basically really gave me real freedom to explore opportunities that maybe I hadn't done over the last 5 years. Plus, I have the assurances from my daughter-in-law and my daughter that my grandkids will be making a lot of visits to me if something like that were to come about. So my grandkids are going to get a lot of love, and they're going to see their papa no matter what.
Well, if you take the job, see if you can get Michael Jordan to come out of retirement, too.
Well, no, if I get it, I'm going to mess with that tie and that kerchief the first game next year on TNT, I guarantee you.
All right, thanks a lot. We'll be back with the opening tip of Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals in the Staples Center in L.A.
Together we made it. We made it even though we had our backs up against the wall. Sing it. Together we made it. See, we did it. We made it even though we had our backs up against the wall.
On a beautiful 71-degree day in Southern California, look from above at Staples Center in downtown L.A. as TNT's playoff coverage continues in a series that will be remembered for this non-call by Joey Crawford in Game 4 in San Antonio as Derek Fisher made contact with Brent Barry attempting that last-second shot. The NBA confirming last night that a foul should have been called, which would have given 2 free throws to Barry, free throws that could have tied the game. But tonight it is on to Game 5 of the Western Conference Final, with the defending NBA champion Spurs hoping to stay alive while the Lakers seek to close out the series and head to the finals for the first time since 2004. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert along with Doug Collins, a man who has been very much in the news the past 24 hours. It is not official, but it has been reported that Doug is the next head coach of the Chicago Bulls for a second go-round with the Bulls.
Well, more of a trend. I don't know, but it's Mike Fratello to Memphis, Stevie Kerr to Phoenix, almost Reggie Miller to the Celtics last year. I don't know if I need to say anything else or not. Maybe you need to examine yourself. That's all I'm saying.
I think we should get to the starting
I'm
lineups.
ready.
I'm being told, let's check out the McDonald's starting lineups. And first, for the San Antonio Spurs, Tim Duncan coming off 29 points, 17 rebounds in Game 4. He is up front with Bruce Bowen, Fabricio Oberto, and Tony Parker and Michael Finley at the guards. Once again, Manu Ginobili will come off the bench. Ginobili hoping to bounce back from that 2-for-8 performance following his brilliant Game 3. Now the Lakers in the backcourt, Kobe Bryant and Derek Fisher. Kobe with a solid 28-point, 10-rebound Game 4. Lamar Odom, who came up big down the stretch Tuesday night on the front line with Vladimir Radmanovic and Pau Gasol. The Lakers looking to make it 8-0 here at home in the postseason. The officiating crew, Steve Javi, Monty McCutcheon, Tom Washington. For the Spurs, this, in effect, the first of what will be 3 elimination games. The Lakers, 1 win from the NBA Finals for the first time since back in 2004. The Lakers control the opening tip. Nice backdoor pass. Gasol on the follow.
Well, you can see Phil Jackson expected pressure from the San Antonio Spurs, so you come out and you run a pressure release. You go back door. Radmanovic did not make the layup, but a terrific offensive rebound. Remember, offensive rebounding was the big number in Game 4.
And Phil telling us earlier, we do want to get off to a fast start, so they are chasing us. Duncan is fouled. Tim Duncan will go to the line. In Game 4, he hit 9 of 11 at the free throw strike.
I thought he ran out of gas a little bit the other night, Marv, in that fourth quarter. He's been so terrific, and even though the numbers say 9 of 21 for the Spurs in that fourth quarter shooting-wise, they got beat to a lot of loose balls. Gasol came up with a big offensive rebound that led to a shot that pushed him to an 8-point lead late. But the Spurs are going to have to sustain this for 48 minutes tonight.
And Greg Popovich was telling us earlier, we have the same game plan for Game 4. He said, hey, we did a good job on Kobe. Our overall defense, excellent, but we cannot get outworked as we did on Tuesday night.
He showed him 7 offensive rebounding clips, of which 7 different guys were involved, where a Laker just went right around him, got the offensive rebound, and got the score. He said, that can't happen tonight.
There's Bryant trying to lose Bowen on a pick and then shoots over him. The rebound comes to Parker. Michael Finley has had trouble locating his shots. They double up on Duncan. Nice pass to Oberto. It started as a double team. It became a triple team.
Well, nobody then rotated down to take Oberto. He's a sneaky guy, you know, Marv. You don't really get him in your scouting report other than you say, keep him off the boards and take away his layups.
Odom over Oberto. And it comes to Gasol as Duncan and Bowen were not able to grab that loose ball. A series of fakes. Duncan does not go for it. Gasol rebounded by Oberto. In the postseason, the Lakers have won 11 of 14 games. And they have been terrific here at home. Duncan off on that bank attempt. He was out here early, attempting shots from that spot.
Yeah, Marvin, we talked about it in the first game that we had not seen that as much this year. As Gasol goes to work inside, that's 2 what I would consider soft shots. They're not aggressive plays, and that's the one thing that Phil Jackson gets upset with him when he's not strong with the ball.
Parker, yes. Tony Parker, the most valuable player of last season's Finals. Derek Fisher's doing a nice job on Parker, though Parker's getting his numbers not quite the same way he did in the series against Phoenix. Lakers just 1 of 6 from the field, making 1 of 7, rebounded by Finley with Radmanovic all over him. Nice move by Parker to shoot over Odom, and he's way off. And here's it from the crowd. A 5-2 lead here in the opening minutes for the Spurs. Bryant changing his mind, gets it back. Shot clock to 7. Here's Kobe.
Now he makes that, Marv. That's a tough shot. Bowen made him work incredibly hard on that shot, and Think about the last couple games. Kobe is 0 for 1 from the free throw line in 2 games and only has 2 combined assists in those games. So they've done a nice job on him, keeping him off the line and making him work hard for his points.
Alberto threw it over the head of Duncan, and then a foul is called. It is on Bowen.
One of the things you want to do when you play Kobe is don't foul him. Make him be a volume shooter. That means take 25 shots to get 25 points. And look at this shot, this fading jump shot, a hand in the face, and Bowen has done a great job all series long. Kobe is shooting the highest percentage in a playoff game that he's ever shot.
Bryant with the save. He lost Bowen off the screen, and Bowen picks it off. Duncan getting position in front of Radmanovic, who came over on a switch.
Well, the Spurs are a sneaky running team. It's either Parker on a one-man break or Ginobili. That time it was Duncan to the front of the rim. You don't normally see him out on the front of the break.
Doug, in NBA playoff history, only 8 teams have come back as Odom makes a nice move. Only 8 teams have come back from a 3-1 deficit to win the series, and the last team to do it in 2006. Lakers actually had a 3-1 lead on Phoenix, and the Suns were able to turn it around 1-7 to eliminate the Lakers in a first-round series. Nice backdoor pass, and Parker with the finish.
That's when Parker has been good in this series. They've really done a good job on his pick and rolls. He's done a great job moving without the ball. We've seen 2 or 3 back cuts in each game.
Bryant open for an instant, but Bowen with the good recovery. Here's Bryant on the drive and score.
Phil Jackson was talking about Bruce Bowen. He said the guy's got quick hands. I know all that kind of stuff, but Kobe, 29 shots, no free throws. I think he's also an illusionist.
As Finley knocks it down. I know Kobe, as he goes up against Bowen, is thinking David Blaine.
There you go.
Now Bryant for 3. And it's obvious what Kobe is trying to do here at the start. Here's Parker. Bad pass. Back comes Fisher. Kobe Bryant looking to get off early to give a jump start to the Lakers. Parker got a piece of that dribble. Fisher passed on a 3. Radmanovic fires.
He's really had an understated playoff series here. Mark, he actually started out in game 1, hit his first 5 shots of the quarter, had 10 points in that first quarter, but the most of his damage offensively is done in the first quarters. He's a quick starter.
And that's the story in San Antonio the other night. Well, you may be asking the question, how does Doug size up tonight's game? In fact, tonight's Collins Keys are presented by Heineken Light.
Well, this is about the 3 stars must shine tonight. Those guys are 3-0 when they score 20-plus points. We talked about Parker, Ginobili, Duncan, but I think the guy is Ginobili, Marv. He's getting ready to check in the game with a tie score. Let's watch what happens. 3-point shooting, you see what it is in the losses. The 1 win, 10 for 18, and tempo. Keep the Lakers under 95 points, and they've done that in 3 of the 4 games. That's why they are disappointed that they're down 3-1. And for the Lakers, defense, when their defense has been great in those 3 wins, they have won. And focus. Pay attention to detail. Don't start talking to yourself that we have 3 chances to beat this team. You want to beat them tonight, and if you do, you're going to get a week's rest before you start the finals.
Manu Ginobili coming on for Bruce Bowen and hoping to turn it from what took place in game 4. He had that sensational game 3. There's the bank shot for Tim Duncan.
See, the double team does not bother him with Fisher on that play if he just goes up and shoots the ball. When he puts it on the floor is when Fisher becomes pesky.
And with Bowen out, the matchup is Ginobili against Bryant. Once again, the touch of Vladimir Radmanovic, who has been the first quarter specialist for Phil Jackson's Lakers. The game is tied at 13. Marv Albert, Doug Collins, Craig Sager. We're at Staples Center in Los Angeles. Nice back tap. Ginobili on the drive, and then gets it to Oberto. They swing it. Here's Finley for 3.
Those are the shots he has to knock down. He's got to catch it and shoot it. Greg Popovich told us before the game he thinks about it too much. Just catch it and shoot it. Don't worry if it's a bad shot. Take it if you're open.
Odom took his eye off it. It's recovered by Fisher. Fisher with the shot. Rebounded by Duncan.
It's interesting they have Kobe on him right now, so they do not want him to get loose, speaking of Ginobili, and get off to a good start.
Duncan not able to handle, but a reach-in foul, says Steve Javy. It is on Radmanovic.
Marv, this is mine and yours favorite shot of Tim Duncan, this angle bank shot where he just goes up and shoots it, and you see Fisher coming over, and it doesn't affect him because Duncan is too big, so that double team is ineffective. And this is Finley catching, loading up the jump shot. That's an important three for Michael Finley.
Michael Finley playing only 8 minutes in Game 4 Tuesday night. Duncan swings inside. Nice move again by Duncan. Spurs up 18-13, just trying to stay alive in this series to bring it back to San Antonio. Radmanovic eluding Finley, then gives it right back outside. Here is Fisher with a rainbow. The tip missed by Gasol, and then deflects out of bounds. It'll be San Antonio ball.
Very fortunate that time, though. Gasol was not blocked out on the play. He almost had another offensive rebound. And that's one of the things that Greg Popovich really stressed with us tonight is we cannot allow these guys to get multiple shots. Can't give them 26 points on second chance. Now, 20 of those were in the first half, but Marv, late in that game, Game 4, they did not come up with rebounds that they needed.
Kurt Thomas, who has not played much in this series, coming on for Roberto. Finley, that's a difficult angle pass. Very low percentage. Here comes Fisher. Pulls it up. Rebounded by Ginobili. Rick Popovich telling us earlier that Kurt Thomas will get minutes tonight as he comes off the bench earlier than Robert Horry, who has been getting the time. Bryant saw that one coming.
A great switch there, and Kobe goes right into the passing lane.
Nice lead for Gasol.
In a game like this, turnovers and second chance on the road is what kills you. And we've seen it a couple times here tonight. San Antonio's got to tighten up their game.
Finley is open. Shoots for three. Yes.
See, that's all with the Ginobili screen and roll. They got the Lakers in rotation. And when you get a team rotating defensively, Marv, you've got to make the extra pass.
Bryant behind the back to Gasol. Loose ball foul against the Lakers. That's one of those shots that Phil Jackson complains about. A very light touch by Gasol, did not take it aggressively to the rim.
Could not agree with you more, Mark. We've seen about 3 of those in the first quarter, and what we also saw in that play was a great block out by Kurt Thomas. That's why he's in the game right now. He got his body on Lamar Odom, who tried to come over the top, and he picked up the foul.
Foul on Odom. Brent Barry, outstanding the other night for San Antonio, has checked in for the first time. Here is Thomas. Bryant respecting Thomas's medium-range jump shot. Shot clock is down to 6. Once again, the double on Duncan. He finds Ginobili. Down to 2, down to 1. Ginobili gets it off. Too late. 24-second violation.
Cannot get stuck late in the clock. It was a great job defensively by the Lakers with the rotation to force the shot clock violation.
4th turnover committed by the Spurs. Just under 3 to go in this first quarter. San Antonio off to a good start at the offensive end, up by 6. Welcome back to Staples Center in Los Angeles, and now it is time for the Gatorade Around the Cooler Report. Let's go to Craig Sager. Craig.
In the pregame show, Charles Barkley said he thought it was stupid for the NBA to admit that the officials made a mistake and that Derek Fisher should have been called for a foul at the end of the last game. I called Stu Jackson, the Senior Vice President of Basketball Operations, and asked him why they did. And he said they were simply responding as honestly as they could to reporters' questions. They're also fulfilling a promise by the commissioner to be more transparent in situations involving officials. As for Joey Crawford, who has a controversial history with the Spurs and was one of those with the no calls, he continues to be one of the league's most highly rated officials ever. And whether it's the Spurs or the Lakers who advance to the finals, you can expect Joey Crawford to be working one of the games.
And you know, as a side note, Doug, after the game, Greg Popovich did not complain publicly, but I thought the object there, looking to tonight's game, did not want his team to use the non-call as an excuse. He said, just let's wipe it away.
I agree, and I think if you hear the comments of all of his players, he got that message across in the locker room. Don't talk about that last situation. We just got to go play ball.
Here's Odom. He's called for steps. Sasha Vujacic and Jordan Farmar have come on for the Lakers. They did not play well in Game 4 the other night in San Antonio.
Well, Farmar's been much better at home. He had 2 good games at home in games 1 and 2. Did not play as well in games 3 and 4 on the road, and he's been very important to this team.
Barry, met by the double team, got it back to Duncan. Tim Duncan very active tonight. Picked up by Farmar. So Bryant moves up front. He's with Odom and Gasol. Farmar with the jumper. Rebounded by Duncan. The Lakers not shooting well here at the start. They're 7 for 20 from the field. 6-point San Antonio lead. We come up on 2 minutes to go here in the first. Pretty pass from Ginobili, and Duncan got it down low to Thomas.
When the ball is moving, the Spurs play well offensively. Marv, when they get stagnant and that ball starts sticking, guys hold on to it. It's when their percentage really drops.
Crowd trying to get the Lakers going. It's the Spurs who have had the energy here at the start. Crowd getting on Gasol for the indecision. Gasol is stopped. Ginobili got a piece of it. Ginobili played by Bryant, gets it to Duncan. Barry played by Vujacic. Shoots for 3, way off. Rebound, Thomas banks it home.
He's come in and done a nice job. An offensive rebound. He's forced a walk on Lamar Odom. He blocked off the boards nicely, picked up a foul on Lamar Odom. So Kurt Thomas giving him nice minutes here early in this game.
Spurs up by 10. Gasol trying to back his way. He struggled here at the start. Ball knocked away from Gasol, but a foul. Gasol is 2 of 9 from the field. Foul is called on Barry. You can log on to TNT Overtime on NBA.com and vote each quarter for the Spur and Laker players that you want to watch side by side in a unique internet and television experience. Exclusive is what he said, to TNT Overtime at NBA.com.
Now, following up your point on Gasol, 9 shots here early, Marv. You talked about 7 in 37 minutes in Game 4.
Bryant over Thomas. Rebounded by Thomas.
Everything's a jump shot right now. Much better job on the defensive backboard by the Spurs. This is exactly the start that Greg Popovich wanted.
Ginobili for 3, yes.
And that even makes it a better start. Plus 13, you're going to have to rest Kobe. Now you get the second unit in the second quarter. Can the Spurs keep pushing the lead?
Well, it was back in Game 1 here. The Lakers were down by as many as 20 and came from behind, pulling off their biggest comeback of the season. But you can't depend on that type of scenario. Shot clock to 5. Vujacic for 3. Rebound ends up in the hands of Gasol. It's an offensive foul.
Well, Kurt Thomas has really put a stamp here early. You know, got to give a guy a lot of credit. When Greg Popovich gave Robert Horry those chances, he didn't get it done. And here is Kurt Thomas once again. And Pau Gasol, he does a nice job there, Thomas, of selling that call. And here we are, Marv, with 7 seconds to go, up 13. A basket here for the Spurs. This would be a beautiful first quarter, and it would make the Lakers do a lot of thinking here going into the second.
Michael Finley and Tony Parker come on for these final seconds. A 15-2 run put together here by the Spurs. Parker is fouled. Lakers had a foul to give, so we're down to 3.1 left in the first.
I thought we saw that a lot in Game 4 with Vujacic and Farmar. I thought they were so aggressive that they got themselves in foul trouble, and that's one of the reasons why the Spurs shot a lot of free throws, is those guys were committing a lot of fouls.
Ginobili asking for more room for the inbounds. Delivers to Duncan. Turns for the fade. And that's the end of the first quarter, but an excellent start for the Spurs. After 1, it's San Antonio with a 28-15 lead. They hit 12 for 19 from the field. Craig Sager with Greg Popovich when we come back. Welcome back to Los Angeles. Time now for the Coach's Corner, presented by the Closer on TNT. Here's Craig with Greg Popovich.
Well, Coach, you wanted to get off to a good start, but how does a 28-15 lead compare with the script?
Well, you know, you never expect to be ahead by 13 at the end of a quarter, but it's worked out so far.
The team has played good defense throughout the series, but tonight holding the Lakers to just 29%. Is the defense exceptional this evening?
I'm sure they've missed shots as much as our defense has been good. We're just scoring more than we usually have, that's all.
Thanks a lot. Back to you, Marv.
Doug, in very low-key fashion, which is the Spurs style, Greg Popovich the other day, given a 2-year contract extension. He is in the fold until 2012, which happens to coincide with Tim Duncan's contract as the second quarter gets underway. And San Antonio able to maintain possession on the back tap.
The energy plays all San Antonio early. Duncan misses an easy one over Turioff. But they're getting high percentage shots. That's one of the reasons why they're shooting 63%.
The Lakers, on the other hand, only 7 of 24 from the field in the first quarter. Luke Walton and Rodi Turioff have come on for the first time. Spurs telling Turioff, take that shot. Odom way off. And ends up in the hands of Duncan.
Now, the Spurs got to make this Laker team pay out here tonight. They're up 13. Do not let this team back in the game with Kobe resting.
Ginobili, nice ball fake, and he scores. So Manu Ginobili showing signs after the subpar game 4. Manu with a 3 and a 2. It's a 17-2 run for San Antonio.
And it's getting very restless in here.
Odom had it knocked away, but on the reach and a foul is called. Thomas got a piece of it, and it's called for the foul.
Well, Tim Duncan, they've gone to him early and often, sees the triple team, the nice pass to Oberto. Double team, you bring a small guy. The only way that bothers you, if you put it on the floor, he goes right up and shoot it. This time a single, so he's seen a triple, a double, and a single, and every one of them has been a successful possession for the Spurs.
Now Tim Duncan's sitting down. Here's Turioff, and he's fouled. He'll head to the line. Greg Popovich making some changes. Duncan and Finley to the bench. Alberto just checked back in as called for the foul, and Turioff to the line.
See what this does also too, Marv, with a 15-point lead, you're this part of the quarter, Kobe's resting, so now you can take Tim Duncan out. And I spoke a while ago, I thought in the fourth quarter he got tired. We had a couple sequences where he was pulling on his shorts, he was bent over, played a ton of minutes in that game, over 44 minutes. And if they can buy some time right now, this for Tim Duncan could really be important in the fourth quarter.
Fast start for Duncan, 7 points, 5 rebounds. You see the minutes being played by Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili. Parker also looked to be worn down at the end of the game.
Yeah, he's going at Fisher and Farmar and Vujicic. Those guys are pressuring him. But I thought, we talked about it the other night, I thought that Greg Popovich did a great job in the regular season of managing his 3 star players' minutes.
Parker, Barry, Ginobili, Thomas, and Alberto on the floor. Vujic just tried to draw the foul. Here's Barry for 3. Brent Barry, who had the sensational game 4. 27 minutes, 7 of 14, a playoff career high 23 points, playoff career high 5 3-pointers, has extended to a 17-point San Antonio lead.
Shooting covers a multitude of sins.
Here's Farmar with a reverse, and it's deflected out. Last touch by the Lakers. And talking with Phil Jackson earlier, aside from him probing you about the speculation concerning the Chicago Bulls head coaching job, he did say that he feels the Spurs are one of the exceptional road teams in the NBA. He says they deal with distractions. They're not bothered by the crowd. Here's Parker, rebounded by Vujic.
Well, it's that singular purpose that's enabled them to win 4 championships, actually 3 with this group, and then you had the 4th with David Robinson.
Farmar from downtown, and the Lakers cannot hit a shot. 7 for 27.
It's amazing how much confidence that Phil Jackson has in this bench. Down 17. Here's a turnover by Ginobili and a foul by Oberto, which was a good foul. But most coaches right now, down 17, would say, I've got to get Kobe Bryant back in the game. And Phil Jackson's big thing has always been, these guys got to find a way to play themselves out of this. It's one of the ways that he creates confidence in his bench during the course of a season.
13 foul called on San Antonio. 3 minutes in, second quarter. Luke Walton had a strong game the other night. Offensive foul. Away from the ball, Odom backing up along the baseline, picked up his second. Odom in foul trouble in game 4. Now he'll take a seat after picking up a second personal. Vladimir Radmanovic returns. One of the things you and I had spoken about the other night as well was Lamar Odom and Pau Gasol, in many instances when they struggle, it's hard for them to get out of it. It's tough for them to get out of those tough moments. I thought that the other night in the fourth quarter, after all the foul troubles you just spoke about, that Lamar Odom came in and had a great fourth quarter. Odom coming back strong, and he was very proud of that because he was so upset with the poor performance in the previous game, but was able to hang in. And the same goes for Luke Walton, who started slowly and came on. Parker with a nice move, but it does not drop. Spurs with a 33-16 lead. Lakers have missed 13 of their last 15 shot attempts. Oh, Ginobili reaching in, inadvertently got a piece of Vujacic, who made certain that the official would see it. Well, ill contusion, delivering a bruise of his own on that play to Vujacic. Those guys have gone at it the entire series. You know, see a little face guarding, goes up, gets a hand in the face, and Vujacic sells that call.
We got to pick it up, guys. All right? Our timing's not there. Get yourself going right way. Pick it up. Pick it up.
At the offensive end, doing a great job. Continue to execute. Set up even better. Screen even better.
The interesting thing to me about what the Lakers are doing right now is Kobe Bryant is still out of the ball game. Lamar Odom, their third leading scorer, is sitting with fouls, and Gasol is on the bench. So Phil Jackson is going right now through a stretch where his 3 leading scorers are all on the bench. So I'm the Spurs and I start looking around. I'm saying, guys, right now, make a push. Get this thing to 20, 22, 23 points. And I think the Spurs are having to think, we're not going to blow another 20-point lead in here like we did in game 1. And the Lakers have gone nearly 8 minutes without a field goal. They've missed their last 8 shots. Farmar able to end that streak. Spurs have put together a 17-2 run, finishing the first quarter in strong fashion. They now lead by 15. Vujacic all over Ginobili. Finley, way off, and knocked out of bounds by Thomas. You know what I see with Ginobili? You can always tell when a guy's legs are bothering him a little bit. When he penetrates, in many instances, you see him stumbling as he's trying to make that pass, which tells me his balance is not there. When you see a guy falling and you see him stumbling a little bit, it always tells me that an ankle's bothering him, a leg, a knee, or something, because his balance is not there. Oh, the alley-oop, beautifully done. Walton combining with Farmar. And for the Lakers, that's the play of the first half. Barry trying to get it over to Finley and recovers. Here's Finley backing it up on Walton. Good defensive sequence here by the Lakers. Shot clock down to 4. Gilliatt with the block. Farmar looked like he was trying for the lob. Vujacic coming up short on a 3-point attempt. 33-20, San Antonio off to the good start in the first half as they try to stay alive in this series and bring it back to a game 6 in San Antonio. Barry open, a long 3. Rebound Vujacic. Well, we've seen one of those San Antonio droughts. It's what got him in trouble in game 1. They can ill afford to have one here tonight. They opened up by hitting 12 for 19 in the first quarter. Farmar. Good box out by Barry. That's a couple bad shots, I thought, by the Lakers, Vujacic and Farmar.
Parker kicks it out. Finley from downtown. Rebounded by Turiak. Farmar with the step. To the reverse. Rick Popovich wants to talk. Timeout. San Antonio.
All this being done with no Gasol, no Odom, and no Kobe Bryant on the floor. Farmar on a 6-0 run. And listen to this Laker crowd. They're back in the game.
Doug, I know you spent a lot of time in Beverly Hills doing some shopping earlier in the day. A star-studded crowd here at Staples. Other Hall of Famers Jerry West, one-time general manager of the Lakers, and former New York Knick Bill Bradley, former Senator Bill Bradley, Dustin Hoffman on hand, as is Denzel, who has been a regular, Antonio Banderas, just to our right, Cameron Diaz, and across the way, Adam Sandler, along with movie mogul Baron Davis of the Warriors, who was involved in the film business. He is in the right place here tonight. And Jack.
Did you have a signature call for Bradley when you were doing the Knicks? Was there anything that that you particularly used with him, Marv?
Nothing out of the ordinary. There were a few yeses involved.
Well, he could shoot that ball, so I'm sure there was a lot of yeses.
One of the more active players, constantly on the move. When I think of Bill Bradley, I think of those matchups with Jack Marin, where they were just as Bradley, Barry knocks it down.
There's a couple double Bs.
Yep. But Bradley and Marin used to crush each other at both ends of the court. There is Bryant, who just checked back in. Just under 6 to go in this first half.
By the way, I thought that was a big shot. The Spurs were reeling, looking for some offense, a timeout. It looks like they're going to go on a 5-point run here with a 3 and a 2, so good execution. Greg Popovich coming out of the timeout. Phil Jackson has gone back with Kobe Bryant, and now it's a 5-0 run for the Spurs.
Nice pass from Parker to set it up for Duncan. Here's the crossover by Bryant. Finishes with the reverse.
Well, when he looks out there, all there is Kim Duncan and 4 small, so Kobe Bryant knows if he can get in the lane, there's no one there to challenge his shots.
Duncan comes over to set the screen. The ball is deflected out of bounds. Now Manu Ginobili returns. Derek Fisher is back. Ginobili coming on for Barry.
Remember, now the first time he came in, they went plus 13 while he was on the floor. So it looks like Greg Popovich is really trying to monitor his minutes so he does not get fatigued. Let's see if he gives him that same burst.
Parker over Fisher.
Well, he's really improved that jump shot. Chip England, the coach of the San Antonio Spurs, has really worked hard on him. Parker knows teams try to play him for that drive, so that jump shot is so important to his game.
Walton, the tip by Gasol. 6 points for Gasol, and the Spurs now lead at 40-26. Game 5 of this best-of-7 Western Conference Final. Lakers leading it 3-1, trying to close out the series. Nice move again by Parker, this time able to penetrate, getting into the paint.
That jump shot sets up. Now you've got to play him a little tougher. Now he can get in the lane.
Remember, in their last appearance here in LA at Game 2, foul is called before the shot attempt. San Antonio here at Staples lost to the Lakers by 30 points. A different story thus far tonight as you see the beautiful spin by Parker.
You know how he protects that ball when he spins? Because he recognizes he's got a guard there coming in behind him. Fisher is pursuing that play, so if you make that turn slowly and put that ball out there, Fisher's going to get his hands on it. So Parker does a great job of protecting the ball.
Spurs over the limit, so Walton is shooting 2. Parenting isn't easy. Watching TV's Funniest Family is. This June, the Bill Engvall Show is back. You can catch all new episodes starting June 12th at 9, only on TBS. Very funny, Doug.
Very, very funny.
Yes.
We got to get Reggie here because you and him are much better at that than I am.
Don't give him that kind of credit. He cannot handle it. Reggie is in the building, though. A 14-point lead for San Antonio. Got off to the quick start. Shot very well in the first quarter. Lakers did make a run, and a touch foul is called. It is on Fisher.
Well, one of the keys we talked about, our Heineken Light keys here tonight, was the three-point shooting. 10 of 18 in that big win. Ginobili was the man who really got them started with 5 in the first half of that game. Tonight, 5 of 8 from the three-point line. So they've averaged 10 in the makes and 6 in the losses. And we talked about how important that three-point shooting is for the Spurs.
And that's what brought them back in the previous series against the Hornets, games 6 and 7. Here's Bowen.
It's a long two. Normally Bowen gets behind that line, but he's not as comfortable on the angle there. That's a longer shot. He's much more comfortable in the corners.
For Bowen, his first bucket, 44-28. Spurs just under 4 left in the first half. Bryant forcing, it counts, and the foul.
Kurt Thomas did everything right except at the last minute. Watch this. He reaches in right there, hits him on the elbow. That's what you want to do. You want to make Kobe a jump shooter. Hits him on the elbow, knocks down the jump shot. Kobe Bryant now on the evening, 4 of 8, and this will be his first free throw attempt of the night. In the last 2 ball games, he's 0 for 1 combined, and the one free throw he shot was when he was fouled making a three-pointer.
He has been shooting primarily jump shots. One of the reasons that he's not been able to get to the line, which is fine with Greg Popovich. He does not want to see Kobe at the line. Here's Kurt Thomas trying to hand it off. Back comes Walton off the turnover. Bryant for 3. Rebounded by Duncan. Kobe now 4 of 9 from the field.
It's an important finish here for the San Antonio Spurs. They have not done a good job closing out halves in a couple of these games. This is an important time because they've dominated this first half as Parker misses the jump shot.
Spurs have led by as many as 17, up by 13. Fisher, rebounded by Duncan. And the outlet pass off the mark, and Ginobili not able to handle it. Timeout is taken by the Lakers. Now look at the Staples Center. The usual capacity crowd, better than 19,000 turning out for Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals.
They're in bonus already, so we got to be a little bit careful, all right? We don't want to. And the most important thing is this lead is not to be milked. To be built upon.
They're playing desperation ball. They can play that way very solidly. You guys got to step it up. Get stopped. You got to grab the momentum now.
The recognition for the Spurs of how important this last 2:54 is. And what Greg Popovich is basically saying, we don't want to come down and like get the ball stuck and now start shooting shots at the end of the clock. But on the same time, you don't want to get a rebound and outlet and throw it out of bounds and get it back to the Lakers. So they want to push the ball up, keep the tempo in their favor, but at the same time not against that clock where they go through those long scoring droughts.
Lakers in possession. They're trailing here by 13. Odom from Vujacic. Thomas altered back shot. And then Odom hits the floor. So Lamar Odom back in. Departed after picking up a second foul. Thomas is open. Kurt Thomas knocks it down.
That's the man of the hour right now, Kurt Thomas. And this is what Greg Popovich has done. He's gone with him instead of Ori. Kurt Thomas on the game now 3 of 4, has 6 points and done a nice job on Odom, keeping him off the boards.
Kurt had not played much in the series, only 57 seconds in game 4. That was it. Here's Bryant. Beautifully done.
Make him work hard, keep him off the foul line, and you've done your job. Bruce Bowen wants to take that competitive challenge, but don't start fouling him and get yourself in trouble. You're so important to your team's defense.
Kobe with 11. He's hit 5 of 10. Shot clock to 5. Ginobili with a running hook. Oh, kept alive by Thomas. And lost it. Vujacic took it away. And a foul is called on Thomas, who tried to get it back.
Well, Kurt Thomas did everything right there. The problem was he was stumbling on that play, so he had to dribble the basketball, and that's where Vujacic came in on the play. But really, he was out of control, Mark. But Thomas, he made a nice play, and he was trying to get his balance with the dribble, and Vujacic just made a nice play on the ball.
San Antonio over the limit, shooting foul. Vujacic 84% at the line during the regular season. National coverage of the NBA playoffs continues tomorrow on ESPN. Game 6 between the Celtics and the Pistons starting at 7:30 Eastern time. Boston now up 3-2 with the win at home last night. Ray Allen finding his shooting touch with 29 points, 5 threes. Saturday on TNT, if necessary. We'll be back with Game 6 of the Lakers and the Spurs, which starts at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Here's Parker with the teardrop. We have not seen much of the teardrop in this series.
He's had a couple tough rolls at the rim.
Crowder urging Kobe to shoot. Gets inside on a double team, then pops it out. Fisher for 3.
Psychologically, it's under double digits right now. A lead that was 17 is down to 9. And Marv, again, I've talked about finishing quarters and finishing halves. And if Spurs lose this series, one of the reasons is the Lakers have done a much better job of that. You're going to see Kobe Bryant inside here, and Duncan does a great job. And Derek Fisher, this guy just hits big shots after big shots, makes big plays. More importantly, Kobe Bryant trusts him. They have 3 championship rings together, and he knows this guy has always got his back.
And this a Laker team that has won all 7 of its games at home during the postseason. 5 straight against the Spurs. That goes back to the previous matchups. They have won 20 of the last 23 overall here at home. And in the postseason, Lakers have won 11 of 14 games. They swept Denver, beat Utah in 6, up 3-1 on San Antonio. Their last loss at home was late March to the Memphis Grizzlies back on March the 28th. Final minute, first half. That 17-point lead has evaporated. It's down to 9. Parker rebounded by Odom. Here's Odom on the move. It counts in the foul. The foul on Thomas, who tried to slap it away.
Big time finish by Lamar Odom. You want him to go right. And again, Kurt Thomas, that's twice now we've seen it where he's reached in and fouled right at the end of a play. We saw it with Kobe Bryant. We see it with Odom. Marv, how about this? An 18-second differential. If the free throw goes in here by Odom, it's down to a 6-point game with a chance to get a stop and maybe make it 3 or 4. So once again, the Lakers going into halftime have to feel very good about this first half when the Spurs have been great.
9 unanswered points for the Lakers. And as Parker makes his move, he is blocked by Fisher. Next foul puts the Lakers over the limit.
Well, the foul trouble against Fisher in Utah really killed him because he's the only guard that could guard Darren Williams. Farmar can come in and play against Tony Parker. That's not as bad a matchup as it was when he tried to play against Darren Williams.
And Fisher in foul trouble, as you recall, in Game 4 in San Antonio, played only 23 minutes as a result. Here's Radmanovic coming on for Odom. Phil Jackson does not want to see Odom pick up a third here with 37 seconds to go in the half. Gasol jumping out at Parker. Barry gets it down low. Nice pass. Finley with the finish. The assist to Duncan.
When's the last time you saw Michael Finley get a layup?
He's been very active tonight. That's his 4th field goal. He has 10 points.
Normally you think of him being that spot-up jump shooter.
and has been most effective after timeouts when there's been a set play. Final seconds. 3-second differential, though, between the game clock and shot clock. Bryant got the step. And Greg Popovich cannot be happy with that uncontested drive. Here's Parker on the run. Bowen changed his mind. Parker fires. And that is the end of the first half.
Well, I think in that last situation, Tim Duncan should have trapped Kobe Bryant. He tried to sort of corral him and run beside him, and Toby is too fast. He turns the corner, but on this play, you got to trap Kobe Bryant. And Tim Duncan took a poor angle. Brent Berry should have come over and gotten the ball out of his hands. You cannot let Kobe Bryant give his team that kind of feeling going into halftime.
Strong finish for the Lakers, an 11-2 run. Kobe leading the Lakers with 13. Michael Finley, the high man for the Spurs, with 10. Let's go to Craig Sager with a man Phil Jackson calls the illusionist, Bruce Bowen.
Well, Bruce, after that great start, your coach said build on the lead, don't milk it. How encouraging was the start? How discouraged are you that the lead's down to only 6?
Well, you can't worry about that right now. Basketball is a game of runs, and we understand that it's about us getting back in transition D. We do a better job in transition D. Maybe they don't cut into the lead like they did.
The number one concern has to be Kobe Bryant. How will you defend him in the second half?
Who knows? I mean, I can't read the future, so I'm going to do my best to try to get a hand up on every shot and understanding that if he hits some, he's an MVP, and if not, I'm sure I'll hear bad things from you guys.
All right, thanks a lot. At halftime, the score, the Spurs 48, the Lakers 42. We'll be back with a T-Mobile halftime report. EJ, Kenny, Charles, and Magic from the Staples Center in L.A.
Tonight marks the 40th night of TNT's playoff coverage and our 41st game. So, Doug, I'd expect a little something extra in your envelope tomorrow morning.
Well, Michael Finley will be one of the guys we talked about. But, Marv, the big thing, I think, for the San Antonio Spurs, they got to keep the pace of the game up. Now, what that means is you don't have to run into quick shots, but get into your offense sooner so you can get to more of the options.
San Antonio red-hot shooting in the first half, although the Lakers cut into that 17-point lead, and the Spurs were led by Finley.
Yeah, he had 10 points. He had a couple big three-point shots, and he's so important because he helps give spacing, and then when he and Ginobili play well together, they get a lot of production out of that position. There's a spot-up three, and once again, another one, the swinging the basketball, the double teaming of the Lakers, a little sloppy in the first half. That layup that Michael Finley gets that is very rare at this stage of his career. But when the Spurs move the basketball, they get good shots, and defensive execution for the Lakers in its first 5 minutes is important.
A look at tonight's cheap game summary. I mentioned 51% shooting for the Spurs, 21 of 41. Lakers at 39%, 17 for 44. They finished the first half strong with that 11-2 run to get back into it. San Antonio 5 of 9 from three-point range, 13 assists. How about only 6 assists for the Lakers in the first half?
When you play the Spurs, they break you down out of your offense. On the season, opponents only average 18 assists a game. So they break you down and make you play off the dribble and take you out of their offense. That's why teams shoot a lower percentage and they don't get as many assists.
All right, let's throw it over to Craig.
Well, Marv, despite that bad start, Phil Jackson very happy that his team kept playing. He thought a big moment was that second quarter when the starters rested. The second unit came in there. He said they've been playing well this entire series. He definitely has faith in them. We didn't shoot well in the first half, according to Phil, but he expects better things here in the second, and very happy the lead is in single digits.
All right, and as this third quarter gets underway, Radmanovic is called for the reach-in. That's his second. So 2 apiece on Radmanovic, Odom, and Fisher. Lakers were down 44-28 with just under 4 remaining in the second quarter. And they went on that 14-4 run, sparked by Kobe Bryant. Kobe 6 of 11, 13 points in the first half. Odom coming over to help on Duncan. Tim Duncan has had an outstanding night. That's 11 points, 11 rebounds.
Very quiet in that second quarter, though. When the Lakers made the run, he had only 2 points. When the Lakers go on that spurt, that's when they need Tim Duncan to quiet everybody down. This is going to be a turnover. Pau Gasol shot 3 of 10 in that first half, but he did have 6 offensive rebounds. So I'm sure that Greg Popovich let his big men know you've got to keep him off the boards.
Miscommunication between Gasol and Odom. So on the turnover, the ball back to the Spurs.
Now, Derek Fisher said the first 5 minutes is going to be important. Our defensive energy. He said the offense will come.
Finley getting the step on Radmanovic, but met by help as Odom came over. Shot clock to 5. Parker, yes. So Tony Parker with 10 points.
Well, you think about that first half, the second unit had a lot more energy. This first unit is the team that's been sluggish.
Yes, the San Antonio first unit jumped right on that Laker first unit. Fisher, he thought he was hit and was correct. It's a matchup of 2 franchises that have combined to win 7 of the last 9 NBA championships. Spurs winning 4, Lakers 3. Spurs, of course, the defending champs. The Lakers finishing as top seed in the Western Conference. Bryant pushing away Bowen. Did not like the aggressive play of Bowen. Another Laker turnover.
His first unit for the Lakers, very sloppy here tonight.
2 minutes gone by in the third quarter. Shot clock to 6. Finley passed on a 3. Rebounded by Gasol.
Does not shoot well going to his right. Michael Finley, you got to jump that left side, make him go back to the right. He's just not as comfortable.
Bryant. And Finley hauls it down. Spurs trying to push this series to a game 6 back in San Antonio Saturday night. A game that will be seen on TNT starting 8:30 Eastern time if there is a game 6. Lakers trying to close it out. Here's Bowen. He thought he was fouled. Late whistle. A very late whistle. And the call is on Bryant, his second.
Now, the reason that was called is because Bowen lost the ball. He made the extra dribble, and I think they were going to let it go. And that's why it was a late whistle. What right happened? It happened right there is the foul, and then Bowen mishandles the ball, and when the turnover was created, that's when the foul is called. And here's Fisher with the steal.
Finley back. Fisher on the drive. San Antonio's lead is down to 8. Good job by Gasol fronting Duncan, but Finley off the mark on that shot. Had a good look. Bryant, yes.
Keep your eye on Greg Popovich tonight with his timeouts. He uses them quickly against the Lakers. Against some teams, he lets his team go through it. I think a 6-0 run tonight, you'll see a timeout here in this second half.
Mono Ginobili getting set to check back in. Here is Duncan. Beautiful move off the double team.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant came back in there just a little too late. And this is a game when Tim Duncan has got to be a little bit selfish. If he takes 25 shots for San Antonio, that would be better for their offense.
Gasol trying to shake off Duncan, came up short, and it's picked up by Finley.
That's what drives Phil Jackson crazy. That's what he's trying to get out of him, is those little flip shots at the basket. Go strong and get contact.
Gasol is 3 of 11. Here comes the double. Duncan trying to draw the foul. He thought he was hit. Bowen with the steal.
And you see Pau Gasol like telling Kobe to come to the ball. Remember in the game the other night we talked to him about how he talked to Odom about throwing the pass up. Pau Gasol does that. When he makes a mistake in some instances, he makes his teammates know it and lets everybody else know it as well.
Odom spinning his way on Alberto. 7 points for Odom, and there's the timeout taken by Greg Popovich.
So I think you got to do that. You've got to manage this game now with Greg Popovich. You got to play this game close to the vest. You can't go through long stretches. These 10-0 runs, 12-2 runs. They don't.
Welcome back to LA. The Lakers trail the Spurs by 6. Yesterday, Hall of Famers Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and James Worthy took part in a rededication ceremony for the Chick Hearn Reading and Learning Center at the heart of Los Angeles Youth Facility. Through the generosity of Barge Hearn, wife of the late Lakers broadcasting icon Chick Hearn, the center recently got a major makeover. The center provides Los Angeles youth with a safe environment in which to read and learn the NBA where caring happens. Mark?
All right, Craig, and there is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now a special assistant sits right behind the Laker bench. Did good work with Andrew Bynum, who will make his return next season. And what a front line that will provide the Lakers with Bynum alongside Gasol and Odom. Here's Bowen shooting from the angle for 3. Now they say it too. Steve Jabby indicating that Bruce's foot was on the line. So it's a 56-48 San Antonio lead. Spurs have led by as many as 17 points. Lakers have come within 6 on several occasions. Bryant not able to hit, rebounded by Ginobili.
Oh, nice job by Ginobili. Guard rebounding, so important against a team that likes to go to the offensive backboard.
Duncan is fouled by Odom, and that's 3 on Lamar Odom.
Great move that time by Duncan, recognizing he had the smaller Odom on him as opposed to Gasol, and you got to punish that smaller player. And this is Tim Duncan going to work, a little fading jump shot, and we've talked about how important it is for him to go to the line and make free throws. The other night in the game, he was 9 of 11.
During the regular season, Duncan 73%, which is a marked improvement. 16 playoff games, though, down to 64% and 1 of 3 now tonight. Tomorrow on ESPN, it's Game 6 of the Celtics and the Pistons. Coverage beginning at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Saturday, right here on TNT, if necessary, Game 6, Lakers and Spurs, starting at 8 o'clock Eastern Time from the River City. Oh, Duncan way off on both shots.
So you got a chance to push it to 10. You don't, the lead just stays at 8. Let's see if the Lakers can capitalize.
Bryant with a nice fake. He had Bowen in the air, but came up short. Halfway through the third quarter, Marv Albert, Doug Collins, Craig Sager were at Staples Center in LA. Ginobili for 3. Gasol rebound. Odom, after pulling it back, takes to the rim and a foul. It's on Alberto.
You can really see the Lakers' philosophy against Ginobili and Tony Parker. They want these guys to be jump shooters. You throw in the fact that Ginobili does not have that explosive quickness and speed that he normally has. And all of a sudden you're looking at Ginobili now 2 of 4 from the floor. Tony Parker 5 of 14. So if you can keep those guys out of the lane, make Duncan work hard, you've got a great chance to win this game if you're Lakers, even though you're trailing by 8 points.
That's 3 on Alberto.
Well, that's what I was talking about against Phoenix. All those pick and rolls, he got in the lane and scored. Against New Orleans, they did a better job, and he threw in some injuries there with that. And look at the Lakers, 3 points in the paint. They've made him a jump shooter. Again, combination of that sore ankle and the fact that they've done such a great job of defending that paint.
Odom able to turn it at the line, 8 of 9 the other night. Coming back from that 3 of 8 in Game 3. Ginobili able to get to it, goes to the crossover. And it's deflected out. Last touch by the Spurs.
You can see what the Lakers are doing. They know that Ginobili, when he drives baseline, loves to throw along that baseline. So they are rotating a defender down there. That time it was Kobe leaving Bruce Bowen, and it forced Ginobili into the turnover.
Whistle away from the ball. And the foul is on the Spurs. It's on Bowen. That's his second. Bowen getting entangled with Bryant. Here's Kurt Thomas. making his return. He played well in the first half, although he did pick up 3 fouls. Comes on for Roberto. San Antonio by 6. Bryant, yes. It's a 4-point lead.
After a 28-point first quarter, the Spurs have now scored 28 points from that point in time. The Laker defense is really toughening.
And the Spurs have had their difficulties in third quarters. Open shot for Parker. Back up to a 6-point San Antonio advantage. In particular, in that series against New Orleans. In games played at New Orleans, Spurs struggled in the third quarter. Ball knocked away from Odom. The steal by Ginobili. Here's Parker trying to get into the paint and then gives it right back. Ginobili passed on a 3. Thomas. Loose ball foul on Duncan.
Kurt Thomas was so open on that play. He pulled the string on that shot. He would love to have that one back. And when he was with the New York Knicks, this was always money in the bank. Great penetration, the extra pass, and there is Kurt Thomas. He might have felt that Laker defender over his shoulder.
That was only the first foul committed by Duncan. Coming up on 4 minutes to go in the third. Odom, yes. Another solid game for Lamar Odom. 11 points in game 4. Had his problems at the start, but then came on strong. Here comes Bryant from the blind side to help on Duncan. Odom had it knocked aside, but recovered by Gasol. Bryant squeezing his way through to set it up for Gasol. The Lakers are with him too. A chant of defense by this capacity crowd at Staples. Duncan on the move. Rebound Gasol. Here comes Bryant. He thought he was fouled. And he's fortunate he was not hit with a technical.
Remember how important it is for the Spurs to finish this quarter, because Kobe normally rests at the end of the third quarter. The other night they pushed the lead to 7, the Lakers, and were able to go on and win that game.
Shot clock to 3, 2, 1. Parker, 24-second violation.
Have you noticed how the Spurs offense is becoming stagnant? You're not seeing them quickly into their offense. The ball is sticking. They're getting against the clock, and the Lakers are really gearing up their defense. So here's Kobe imposing his will on this game. The beautiful drop off to Gasol.
If you look at our coaching staff, all you see is rings over there. From Coach Winter, from Phil, to Coach Hammond, to Coach Clemens, to Brian Shaw, to Kurt Rambis, even our training staff. And everyone's always poised. You know, Gary Vee, our trainer, has been here for 20 years. He's won rings in the 80s. And of course, with Phil in the 90s. And you got Kobe and D. Fisher. And it starts to rub off on you. And, you know, you start to think like a winner. And no matter what, you kind of just keep yourself together.
And, Doug, this is a team that has come a long way from last year. They went 57-25 in the regular season, the top seed in the West. Last year, 42-40. They barely make the playoffs, and then they lose to the Suns in the first round in 5. And anyone who follows sports is familiar with the unhappiness of Kobe Bryant, who asked to be traded, actually demanded to be traded at one point. Whether that forced Mitch Kupchak to making moves, there's Mitch, the general manager of the Lakers, or whether they would have made the moves anyway, we do not know. But the key was the acquisition of Pau Gasol and the fact that guys like Vujicic and Farmar improved their play. The bench coming a long way, and the end result here, the Lakers a win away from getting to the NBA Finals if they can close out the Spurs. Bryant off the double has to kick it out. Radmanovich for three. Rebounded by Thomas. So the Spurs maintain that 2-point lead as we come up on 2 minutes to go in the third.
Radmanovich had 14 seconds on that clock when he took the shot. When he took that clock when he took that shot, he should have waited and got a better shot.
Ginobili is fouled, and he will go to the line.
That's what you got to do. If you're Ginobili, put your head down and throw your body in there, get to the foul line. And while we spoke about it, I mean, what is going to be the cushion here for the Spurs if they are leading going into this fourth quarter? Ginobili here on the move, catch the ball on the run, take the ball, get contact. Gasol with a foul. Now Ginobili's got to step up. These free throws, you've got to stem the momentum of the Lakers.
Foul on Gasol, that is his second, and prior to the acquisition of Pau Gasol, Andrew Bynum had lifted his play until the injury sidelined him for the season. And remember Kobe scoffing at the front office for not offering Bynum in a deal that involved Jason Kidd. This was last season.
You know, sometimes in this league, Marv, you got to get a little lucky. I remember when I was in Chicago, we got Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant as Kobe Bryant knocks down that shot. But sometimes in the draft, you got to get a lucky. That's how championship teams are built. Sometimes you got to get a lucky trade.
And the Lakers have taken a 1-point lead with just under a minute and a half left in this third quarter. Check that. Spurs up by one off the three.
13 for 38 now for the Spurs after starting 13 for 19.
Bryant. And now the Lakers lead by a point. Kobe with 22 on 10 of 19 from the field. Duncan backs it up on Gasol. Nice pass, Thomas. Yes, and the foul.
Now, slow rotation by the Lakers on the weak side. Kurt Thomas was just hanging around. He was worried about the 3-second lane violation. He's just floating around. It's that one-man zone that we've talked about with Lamar Odom. He's trying to get about a half a double team on Duncan, but yet be in a position to get back to Kurt Thomas. That time he took a poor angle and could not get back quickly, and that's his fourth foul.
Jordan Farmar will come on. And he's looking over at Phil Jackson, questioning who is he replacing. It is Derek Fisher. And Greg Popovich counters with Michael Finley off the bench. And he'll pull out Tim Duncan, so that'll give Duncan a rest with 49 seconds left in the third, plus the rest time between quarters.
Yeah, in many instances, I remember when Stockton used to rest. Well, we were doing the games on NBC and the finals and all. He used to rest, and he might miss 6 minutes of actual game time, but get a 30-minute rest through the quarters, through the timeouts. And so you only miss 6 minutes of game time, but you get a lot of rest. And that's what coaches do in these periods of time. Take their guys out, get them through the timeout, and you really don't miss that much game.
3-point play for Thomas, who has 9 points off the bench and has done a nice job off the board. Spurs with a 63-61 lead. They double up on Bryant and try to trap him in the corner. Could not. Shot clock to 5. Radmanovich for 3. The Lakers lead by 1. That's a rare second half three-pointer for Vladimir Radmanovich. 3-second differential between the game clock and shot clock. Ginobili to the step back. Rebounded by Wolf. Time running out in the third. The Lakers have come back from a 17-point deficit. Remember in game 1 here, they came back after trailing by as many as 20. We're headed to the fourth. Lakers 64. The Spurs 63. When we come back, Craig talks with Phil Jackson.
Welcome back to the Staples Center, where the Lakers have fought their way back and now lead by 1 going into the fourth quarter. With me, Phil Jackson. And what was the biggest defense adjustment you made there in the third quarter?
It's just getting animated. It all has to do with active defensive players. Suddenly, passes aren't so easy, cuts aren't so easy, and we did some things quickly on the defensive end.
Despite taking that lead, I saw you talking to Steve Javy at the end of the quarter. What was the problem? What did you think they missed?
Well, Thomas made a basket. They gave him 2 foul shots. It's supposed to be 1 shot. I was busy doing a substitution, missed it at the time, but they missed the first foul shot, and they gave him a second one on it. So it was a 4-point play possibility on a regular shot, so we're trying to get him to correct it.
Will they?
I don't know. It might have gone too far inside the game clock.
Thanks a lot. Back to Marvin Doug.
Well, Doug, you and I were looking at each other as Phil was saying that he got 2 free throws, and we just went back to the videotape to check. I don't know what Phil was thinking about. He was probably getting Steve Javy a little crazy, but Thomas just attempted 1 free throw and hit it.
One of us would have caught that at the table here watching this, so I didn't know what he was talking about, but the referee's got it right.
And apparently there were several substitutions at that point, which might have thrown him off. And here is Bryant for 3. The Lakers extend to a 67-63 lead, their biggest lead of the night as this fourth quarter gets underway.
And you notice Kobe's not resting at this time. He is the man out there with the soul and the bench players. So Phil Jackson recognizes it's the time to strike for his team. He feels that the Spurs are on the ropes here a little bit, and he's going right here for the knockout punch a little earlier than he normally would. Marv, this is the concerns if you are San Antonio. Game 1, 3 for 21 in the fourth quarter. Game 2, 6 of 21. On top of that, 3 for 17 from 3.
Here is Ginobili going glass. 9 points for Ginobili, who has certainly picked it up following the subpar Game 4, but playing through that ankle and finger injury. It's a 2-point Laker lead. Spurs have led by as many as 17, trying to stay alive and bring it to a Game 6 back in San Antonio Saturday night. Bryant rebounded by Ginobili.
Kobe's got that look in his eye right now. The Spurs really have to lock in on him defensively.
Duncan back on the floor for the start of the fourth. Duncan with the rebound, and he is fouled. See, Bryant came over from the weak side, moving along the baseline, and Vujacic is called for the foul.
When Kobe hit that first 3 to start the fourth quarter, he looked over at Phil Jackson and sort of gave him a hand signal like, keep it coming my way. Then he comes down the next possession and looks for a 3. So he's got that feeling right now that he wants to go on a little spurt and put the Spurs on their heels.
Duncan only 1 of 4 at the line.
And watch what happens with Kobe here. After he makes it, he looks over Phil like, keep it coming my way. I want to make a little surge right now. I'm feeling good. So let's keep our eye on Kobe.
Now Finley back to the bench. Alberto coming on. Let's see if they give Tim Duncan 3 to make 2.
Well, that was in my era.
Yes.
And if you had a bad free throw shooter, you also had a hat trick in the making.
Right. Duncan hits 1 of 2. And it's a 1-point Laker lead, 67-66 with a minute and a half gone by in the fourth quarter. Bryant draws the foul.
And one of the things they don't want to do is put him on the foul line on those kind of shots. That was a hanging shot in traffic. You got to make him make that degree of difficulty. They're going to rule that that's sideline out of bounds, that the foul was committed before he got into the act of shooting. This is going to really make the Lakers fans not too happy because they feel like that Kobe can't buy his way to the foul line.
Kobe Bryant trying to plead his case to the official, Monty McCutcheon. Foul on Duncan is second. Walton. Rebounded by Duncan. Spurs have Barry and Ginobili in the backcourt with Duncan, Oberto, and Bowen up front. Foul on the Lakers as Duncan tried to go with that driving hook. It's on Walton, his first.
You got to meet him sooner. He waited for him too late underneath the basket. Look where Luke Walton is. You got to step up sooner. His feet were in the restricted area. That's an easy call to make for Monty McCutcheon.
Duncan 2 of 6 at the line. Reminder, Major League Baseball action returns to TBS Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Marlins taking on Jimmy Rollins. And the Phillies, a matchup of the two top teams in the NL East. Chip Carey, Buck Martinez will have all the action for you. Lakers now with 3 team fouls. And this time Duncan connects on both. Farmar and Vujicic in the backcourt with Bryant, Gasol, and Walton up front. Farmar played tightly by Parker, but got the step to set it up for Walton for 3.
Those are plays that you work on in practice in your break ground drills. When a guy drives baseline, you slide down to that corner to give him an outlet.
Luke Walton coming off a good game in Game 4 Tuesday night after struggling early. Parker's pass was picked off. Vujicic able to keep that dribble alive. Farmar to the reverse. Timeout called by the Spurs.
Well, Greg Popovich very upset at Oberto. Did not step up on the play. Well, we spoke about it before the game here. Farmar has been much more confident at home in this series. In the first 2 games, he played well. Little over-the-shoulder shot to kiss off the glass. Jordan Farmer feeling it.
All right, Doug, let's take a look at tonight's Yellow Book Future Faces. Here are the unrestricted free agents on the Spurs and Lakers. Now, who do you feel stays? Who goes elsewhere?
Well, I think when you're looking at these Spurs, they're thinking about getting that bench younger. So I don't think they re-sign any of those 3 guys at the top. I think if you're the Lakers, you look at Turioff and Vujicic, what they've done, they want to bring them back. But when I spoke to R.C. Buford, who's the general manager, or helps Greg Popovich there with all the player transactions in San Antonio, he said, you know, people are talking about how old our bench is. We know we've got to get younger, and we've positioned ourselves to do that.
And I must say, I noticed many potential free agents on both teams going out of their way prior to the game to talk with you tonight, saying they just love the Windy City. 3 minutes gone by in the 4th quarter, and the Lakers have a 4-point lead. That's an offensive foul. Foul on Thomas, that's number 4. Go to TNT Overtime at NBA.com for live coverage presented by Yellow Book and the latest editions of Running the Point, hosted by Michael Bivens, formerly of New Edition, and now of TNT.
You had all those Bell Biv DeVoe CDs he used to put out.
Exactly. The entire set.
Exactly. You got the collector's set.
San Antonio has led by as many as 17. Now trailing by 4. Bryant. Oh, a gorgeous scoop by Kobe Bryant.
This game slipping away from the Spurs. Manu Ginobili, they need you now. They need a big shot. They need some of your energy.
Ginobili cutting baseline. Barry could not find him. Here's Barry getting the step, and he is fouled. Brent Barry to the line, a foul on Walton.
See, Tim Duncan is out trying to corral the ball, but Kobe just keeps the dribble alive. We saw guys on the perimeter there reaching. At this point in the game, you've got to get in there and you got to force Kobe Bryant to pick that dribble up and try to make a pass. You cannot give him a free pass to the basket. I know it was a difficult shot, but this is Kobe Bryant.
Lamar Odom returns, replacing Luke Walton. Bruce Bowen comes on for Manu Ginobili. Brent Barry has come back strong after missing nearly 9 weeks after tearing a muscle in his left calf in late January, and has done a good job here in this series.
He's played well tonight, and he really was terrific the other night. Gave him a chance to win in that game. Ginobili resting here. I'm sure Pop is going to try to get him back maybe for the last 5 minutes.
Bryant, 29 for Kobe. He's hit 13 of 23 from the field.
Well, where's that three-point shot that was so good for the Spurs? They have not hit one since midway in the second quarter. They had 5 early. They're still stuck on 5 of 11.
Parker, oh, nice improvisation as he put the move on Farmar. Lakers with a 76-72 lead. Duncan stepped away, but Vujacic on the recovery knocks down the 3.
That's how it's going for the Lakers right now. The ball squirts out. You pick it up off the floor. You knock down a 3. Spurs in serious trouble here right now.
7 minutes to play in the 4th. The Lakers up by 7. Parker, rebounded by Thomas, and converts the putback.
Well, look at Phil Jackson right now, looking at Lamar Odom, said keep him off the boards. Right now we've got them struggling. Don't give them anything easy.
11 points, 7 rebounds for Kurt Thomas. Bryant. Gasol is right there.
What's happening now, they're getting Duncan involved, where he has to step up and be the helper. When you look out there, other than Kurt Thomas, they have no rebounders on the floor. And we've seen this all along. In the 4th quarter, the energy of the Lakers, they're just one step quicker.
And the Lakers try to make back to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2000. Kobe Bryant, 13 of 24 from the field, 29 points. And you see how the Lakers have turned it on in the second half.
And this is what's haunted the Spurs on the road all season long. Their inability to score, Mark, 28 to 20 to 15 to 11. The Laker defense has picked up, and the Spurs' inability to get anything easy right now is really haunting them.
And San Antonio on the road in the playoffs has won only 2 of 8 games. Parker. Tony Parker with the teardrop. He has 16. The Laker lead is 5. During the regular season, San Antonio at 22 and 19 away from home. They did their damage at home, winning 34-41 games. Bryant to the fade. And a foul is called, a pushing foul on the Spurs as Gasol hit the deck. And now a timeout is being called. Still waiting for the indication on the foul. And now we're told it's Tony Parker. Just under 6 to go here in the 4th. Back to Staples in a moment.
Hey, a lot of game. We got to play more perfect than they're playing. No mistakes. Keep talking. Everybody on the same page. All right, let's go.
Execution under pressure, especially on the road. That's what the Spurs are looking at right now. They didn't clean up that last rebound. Popovich talking about you got to get the good defensive stop, and then you got to finish it off with the rebound, and then you got to go down and you got to score.
Lakers with the 81-76 lead. Gasol, blocked by Ginobili, but kept alive by Odom.
Marv, that's 48 points in the paint now for the Lakers, plus 18. When they have won that by double digits, they have won the game. When the Spurs have been either plus 2 or even, they have been very close. But battle of the paint right now, definitely the Lakers.
Barry for 3. Brett Barry with 11. That's his 3rd from downtown.
Now with the with the Spurs going to a small lineup, you've got Odom on Ginobili. Let's see if they go to that matchup. Well, Ginobili's got to keep him off the boards.
Shot clock to 7. Gasol rejected. Odom lost it. He thought he was fouled. Ginobili passed on a 3, takes to the rim. Rebounded by Vujacic.
Oh, you can see Ginobili just had no lift. He went right by Odom. He's going to use his speed and quickness on Odom. I don't know if he has that right now.
Playing with that jab left ankle. Vujacic thought he was fouled. 4.5 to play in this fourth quarter. Beautiful move by Parker. And it brings the Spurs within 2. Phil Jackson calling for time.
They feel that Vujacic got fouled on that jump shot, no call, and then Parker goes in and sort of after the play, anything goes. He's driven into the stanchion here by Lamar Odom after the shot is released. Look at Tony Parker disappear.
Back in L.A., it's time now for the U.S. Army strong performance of the night.
Well, and who else but Kobe Bryant? These are his last 5 field goals. The pull-up jump shot in the lane. This is the 3 he hit to start that fourth quarter and said, Phil Jackson, keep it coming my way. There's a beautiful drive in the lane over one of the better defenders in the league, Tim Duncan. Little fading jump shot. Kobe right now has not rested in this second half, but it appears to be very fresh for the finish.
13 of 25, 29 points for Kobe Bryant. For more U.S. Army strong performances, log on to TNT Overtime at NBA.com. Well, it's all on the line here for the San Antonio Spurs as they seek to continue this series, hoping to extend to a Game 6 back home Saturday night, while the Lakers trying to wrap it 1 game away from making it to the NBA Finals for the first time since back in 2004.
It's interesting, Phil Jackson has taken out Lamar Odom and gone with a smaller lineup with Armanovich because the Spurs are playing small.
Rare miss in the second half for Kobe. Spurs are down by 2 after trailing by 7. Ginobili open for 3. Rebounded by Gasol.
What a great look, though. Ginobili wide open at the top. If I am the Lakers, the one guy I don't leave right now is Brent Barry. He's shooting the ball better than any other Spur.
Bryant.
Come on now, that's too good over Tim Duncan, floating in the lane. Kobe Bryant.
31 points for Bryant. 3:20 left in the fourth. Duncan lost it off his foot. Fisher setting it up. Fisher, Vujacic at the guards. Gasol, Bryant, Radmanovich on the front line. Here is Kobe. Rebounded by Duncan. Rebound number 15 for Tim Duncan, who sets the pick for Barry. Gives it right back. Duncan is fouled by Gasol.
Brent Barry's doing a lot of things out tonight, not just spotting up and making jump shots. We've seen him drive to the basket, get some free throws. This time he penetrates, makes a nice pass to Tim Duncan on the roll. Remember now, when Brent Barry was a younger player, he played a lot of point guard in his career, so he has those kind of skills. It's just that time has eroded a little bit of that quickness he had as a younger player.
And Tim Duncan getting the treatment from this crowd, as you see, 4 of 8 at the line.
Marv, I've said it before, I could never go to the free throw line and pause that long. Tim Duncan is such a thinker that I wonder all the thoughts. To me, it's like standing over a putt and not being able to pull the trigger because you don't trust. Watch how long he stops. Look how much time there is to think on this free throw. And he's a thinking player.
That's 17 points for Duncan. You're about 10 seconds before you release the shot. He takes all 10. Bryant hit on a reach-in. Tripped up by Ginobili. It's 3 on Ginobili. And 13 foul on the Spurs. Lakers are over the foul limit. It's a 3-point game. Lakers with an 85-82 lead. After trailing by as many as 17, San Antonio getting off to the good start. Things have turned in the second half. Bryant.
Come on, Marv. I mean, Tim Duncan had a hand in his face.
20 of his 33 in the second half. We approach 2 minutes to play in the fourth. Duncan played well by Gasol, although Duncan thought he was fouled.
This is Derek Fisher time, too. Tony Parker's got to be very careful. Fisher loves these kind of moments.
They are on their feet here at Staples. Bryant to the rim. Timeout called by the Spurs. Kobe Bryant with his high for this series, 35. He has been unstoppable in the second half. He's done it by taking to the rim. He's done it with the fadeaway. And the Lakers lead by 7. See the numbers for Kobe Bryant. In the second half, the Lakers have scored 47 points. Kobe with 22 of the 47. The rest of the team with 25.
They just don't have anybody, once he turns that corner, can stop him. And look at the deficits here. The biggest comebacks, the Lakers, we've already seen it in game 1 here. The last 6.5 minutes of that third quarter. And then on into the fourth, you've seen the Pistons and the Bulls, the Mavericks. The Lakers trail by 17 tonight. And again, Marv, when you look at this game, 89 points for the Lakers. It hasn't been the Spurs defense. It's been the fact they cannot score. And we've seen it on the road. They've averaged about 87 points throughout the playoffs. Here they are tonight at 82. And if they would have said they could have held the Lakers to almost 20 points underneath their average in all the games but one, they would have felt good about their chances.
And the Spurs have just 1 timeout remaining. Beautiful pass. Ginobili finding Duncan. 89-84 Lakers. Spurs do have a foul to give.
And the Spurs aren't a team that creates turnovers. Unless the Lakers make the self-imposed mistakes right now, they're going to get shots.
Lakers playing the clock here. Down to 6 on the shot clock. Bryant for Gasol. Bogdanovic for 3. Rebounded by Gasol. He's come up with some huge rebounds down the stretch.
Remember game 4, the loose ball that he picked up? Used some more clock, and then Fisher knocked down the 3 that gave them that 8-point lead. Excuse me, a 2-pointer to knock down to give them that 8-point lead.
Gasol to 17 rebounds. Final minute of the fourth. Bryant on the drive, and he will head to the line. So Kobe with the good look, driving to his right, hit by Ginobili. And these are rare free throws for Kobe Bryant. Second and third of the evening.
You know, I look at Kobe Bryant out there, and I think competitor, incredibly skilled, strong-willed. But Mark, is there a better conditioned player in the NBA? This man takes all this defense, and here he is trying to put his team to the finish.
All right, Doug, let's revisit tonight's Collins Keys presented by Heineken Light.
Well, I thought they needed about 65. They have 46. Look at the shooting, 19 of 46. Look at the second half threes. That dried up on them. Tempo of the game, they've been outscored 62 to 40 since the second quarter. And look at the defense. The focus maybe not there early for the Lakers. They got off sluggishly. They got a nice spurt from their second unit. But since that point in time, it's been all Los Angeles Lakers.
Lakers back up by 7. Parker. Rebound again. Handled by Paul Gasol. They try to trap Fisher. Coming up on 30 seconds remaining. The Lakers are headed to the NBA Finals. The foul is given. Vujacic will head to the line with San Antonio over the limit. Standing ovation from this crowd. The Lakers are headed back to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2004 when they lost to the Pistons in 5. The last time that the Lakers won a championship was 2002 when they swept the Nets to complete the three-peat. The Lakers of Kobe and Shaq. And you know how much it means for Kobe Bryant to get back to the finals as the most valuable player, as the Lakers are just 33 seconds away from accomplishing that feat. A Laker team that has come a long way from a year ago.
Well, Kobe Bryant is on a mission, Marv. He's been the MVP of the league. If he goes on and gets to the NBA Finals, which it looks like happens, if they beat whoever it is in the East and get to that, and he's the MVP, and then this summer, he's looking at a possible Olympic gold medal. There's only been one other player to do that. That's a guy named Michael Jordan. So Kobe is looking at a possible fairy tale year. It's unbelievable.
And talking about the Laker improvement, and it all starts with Kobe.
Absolutely. The adding of Derek Fisher. Gasol, not the great #1 guy in Memphis. Very happy as the #2 guy here. Odom goes from 2 to 3. Marv, you talked about the internal improvement of their younger players, and then the one constant through it all then has been Kobe Bryant as a player and Phil Jackson and his magnificent coaching.
Parker looking to throw it in. And Duncan shoots the 3. As the foul is given, that'll put Gasol at the line. Foul on Ginobili. As for the San Antonio Spurs, they have not just been the model franchise in the NBA the last 10 years. They have been the model franchise in professional sports. This year they go 56-26, the 9th consecutive 50-plus win season. They won 4 NBA titles the last 9 years, 3 the last 5. Their core of head coach Greg Popovich and his staff, and Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker will all be back next season, but there are no guarantees that this club will stay atop the Western Conference. You know they're going to rebuild around those guys. For one thing, the West is much tougher with the Hornets, with the combination of Chris Paul and David West. The Jazz have come on. The Lakers retooled and should be as strong or stronger next season with the return of Andrew Bynum. Portland fast approaching. There's no reason to write the Spurs off for next year, but the road back to this point is getting more difficult.
You know, I have so much admiration for Greg Popovich and this Spurs team. I've been very blessed to do a lot of the games and broadcast, and you know, we walk in and we talk to him before games, how great he is with us. This team never makes excuses. They just come out and play, and the Lakers were the younger, fresher team, and more importantly, they had the best player on the floor in Kobe Bryant. And when the game was in the balance, he took it and ran with it, and his team is running to the NBA Finals.
And they have done it in impressive fashion. They swept Denver, beat Utah in 6, and they will wrap up San Antonio the defending NBA champs, in 5. Off the steal, here comes Parker, and he scores with 18 seconds to go. And the foul is called as Bryant is sent sprawling.
I was getting a flashback of Game 4 when the Lakers went through that meltdown in the last minute. They were up 7. Gasol walks to the line, misses 2 free throws. Ginobili hits a 3, and then Kobe makes a mistake I've never seen him make. It goes length of the floor and takes a shot too quickly. And it almost cost his team after Parker knocked in that layup on the goaltend. They had to hang on for dear life, but if Kobe knocks these down, the Spurs have no more timeouts. It's going to be very difficult unless the miracle happens here.
And Bryant, 4 of 4 at the line. He has had a magnificent 5 games against the Spurs, capped off by tonight.
And I guarantee you, after this series is over, as much as they are competitors, you're going to see Bruce Bowen and Kobe Bryant walk up to each other, whether it's going to be a handshake, a hug, or whatever, with a tremendous amount of respect for the competitive nature of those 2 men.
Parker knocks down a 3 with 10 seconds to play. No foul given. Lakers get it across. And that will do it. As Vucevic fires, he hits. And that will count. They'll have to review it.
Did you see Michael Finley? He looked over at Vucevic and like, you know, why you take that shot at the end of the game? We're not fouling. You don't shoot that shot.
In fact, they wave off the review. It was all academic. But apparently got it off on time. And the final score, as you see, the Lakers 100, the Spurs 92, as they defeat the defending NBA champion San Antonio Spurs in 5. Coming up following a quick break, we'll be back here at Staples with the Emmy Award-winning Inside the NBA and the Western Conference Trophy presentation. Be right back. We're back at Staples Center in Los Angeles as we welcome you to Inside the NBA presented by Hyundai. And now we take you to the public address voice of the Lakers, Lawrence Tanner.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'd like to direct your attention to center court for a special presentation. Please welcome TNT's Ernie Johnson.
All right, the reason I know that you're all sticking around, we have a Western Conference Champions Trophy. We have the Western Conference Champions. And to present this trophy to GM Mitch Kupchak is a Laker legend, Hall of Famer, Mr. Clutch, Jerry West.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's get on to business at the hand here tonight. First of all, I think we ought to give the San Antonio Spurs a tremendous hand. They've been great champions, a great organization, wonderful coaching staff, and some incredible players. But these gentlemen behind us tonight were something really special. This city has been so blessed to have so many great teams, and this will continue. I think a long line of a very young group of guys that have a great future ahead of them. They have an incredible owner in Jerry Buss, who's made it possible for everyone who's worked here to succeed and allow us all to participate with this incredible organization, and also the fans of Los Angeles who have really rallied behind this team. The great coaching staff has done an unbelievable job. And obviously, for me, having a chance to watch these young guys play is really special, but I would really be remiss if I didn't mention one player here. I've seen a lot of great players in my life, but you people in Los Angeles are very privileged to see this young man here, Kobe Bryant. It's something special. For all you young kids out there who aspire to be something really special, look at his work ethic and his dedication and what it does, the leadership ability he has. But again, you're not finished yet. You're going to represent the Western Conference in the next great step that you're about to take. Don't let anyone down. And I know there'll be a lot of people rooting for the LA Lakers to win. But especially a few standing here. But I would really, a real special moment for me to present this trophy to one of the most incredible people that I've ever been associated with in my life, Mitch Kupchak. And I'm so happy that I'm able to present this championship trophy to Mitch and to the entire Laker organization for an incredible job. Good luck in the finals. Win 4 more games, please.
Mitch, I'm sure there were times earlier this season you didn't know if you'd be standing here on this night holding that trophy.
Why would you say that, Ernie?
Early in the season, before deals were made, before you had this team with this mix.
Well, quite frankly, I thought we'd be a good team. To sit here today and say, 6 months ago that we'd win the conference finals and come in first in the West, I think that, I'm not sure I would have predicted that, but I knew we'd be a good team.
What does this feel like tonight in front of this crowd to dethrone the world champions?
Well, Ernie, I'm most happy for Dr. Buss and the Buss family, and most importantly, the fans in Los Angeles, because we've had a couple of rough years, and they've stood by us, and they're the best fans in the NBA. So I'm most happy for the Buss family and for the fans in Los Angeles.
Mitch, congratulations to you and the team. And where's Kobe run off to? Kobe, what, last year, there are probably a lot of folks in here who's wondered if you'd have that uniform on again. What does it mean to you to stand here with this bunch and that trophy heading to the NBA Finals?
This is a dream come true. It's a dream come true, man. It's such a blessing. And, to have it, to share with a group of guys that, like brothers, it's an unbelievable feeling. It's an answer to prayer.
As out of sync maybe as you guys looked in the first half, you're down by 17, you had kind of a look that said, I don't really want to go back to San Antonio. Can you describe your mindset going into the second half of this game?
Well, we knew we could play better. The first half, it was tough for us because it kind of caught us off guard with the speed and some of the things that they ran. And, we just wanted to cut the deficit to a manageable game. By halftime, we did that, came out the second half and put our foot on the gas.
You're going back to the finals for the first time since '04. How does that feel to you?
It's exciting, man. We're all excited, and I'm just happy for my guys, happy for the city, and we ain't done yet.
The Western Conference champion, Los Angeles Lakers.
Back to you, Mark. All right. Thank you, Ernie. Interesting to have Jerry West out there presiding over the ceremony. It was Jerry West who pulled off the trade for Kobe Bryant, making the trade with the Charlotte Hornets.
And, he has a tremendous affection for Mitch Kupchak. You could see that. Mitch worked here for so many years with Jerry, and Mitch took a lot of heat over the last few years. You think about how quickly it went from '04 in the NBA Finals to no playoffs, getting beaten the first round twice, and now standing here with a week's rest, getting ready for the NBA Finals.
And now the Lakers go up against the winner between the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons. Lakers split their 2 games against the Pistons. Kobe averaging 29.6 assists as both teams won at home. He had a pretty good rivalry with this man, Rip Hamilton, who averaged 15 points in the 2 games. And Tayshaun Prince hitting the game-winning three-pointer with 4 seconds left on January the 31st to give Detroit its win over the Lakers. How would you size up a Piston-Lakers series?
Well, you know what? It depends on which Pistons we're going to see. We've seen the good Pistons, and we've seen the Pistons that don't always play at the highest of levels. But it will be a high-level series. There's no question about that. But there's a nice little rivalry between Rip Hamilton and Kobe Bryant. That would be a lot of fun to watch.
But at the moment, the Boston Celtics are one win away from the NBA Finals, leading the Pistons 3-2. Looking ahead to that potential finals matchup, if it's the Celtics. Lakers lost both games to Boston. Kobe averaging 25 points, shooting only 33% from the floor. Kevin Garnett solid. He averaged 21.5 per game. And Paul Pierce, who's guarded by Kobe in a game where the Lakers brought out the short shorts for the first half on retro night. And Pierce averaged 26 a game, plus 6 assists. And there you see the recap. So the Lakers now can sit back again, have some time off as they look ahead to the NBA Finals.
You know, Mark, when we talk about the Los Angeles Lakers, we talked about how many points they've scored, They won this series with their defense. And when you look at the Detroit Pistons and the Boston Celtics, those are two of the top defensive teams in the league. So when it's all said and done, maybe three of the best defensive teams in the league are still standing. And how about maybe two of the most beleaguered general managers as of last season when it ended? Danny Ainge, the work he did to pull off to get Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen, and here Mitch Kupchak. They were 1-2 in the executive of the year. What an unbelievable year it's been.
And Doug, once again, a great pleasure for me and the entire staff to work with you during the course of the season and during the conference finals, as we mentioned earlier, and you have been a man in the news for the last 24 hours. It's not official, but the report is that you will become the head coach of the Chicago Bulls, a second go-round with the Bulls, and now with the Western Conference Finals over.
Well, I'm going to meet with them. There's no question. We talked about it. I'm going to meet with John Paxson and Jerry Reinsdorf. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to be on a good team either way. I'm either going to be on a good team with TNT or Chicago, so I can't lose. So I'm just going to say my prayers and follow where I'm supposed to go, Marv. That's what I'm going to do.
You know what I'm thinking? It's the second time we've chased you off. Prior to when you were NBC, when we worked together, prior to your taking the job with Washington.
Well, you know, I'm sort of like those cockroaches that Charles talks about. You can't get rid of me.
Yeah. On that note, we will say our goodbyes. It's been a wonderful season for all of us here at TNT, and we thank our producer, Scooter Bertino, director, Bernardo Lowe, our statistician tonight, Mr. Stats, Elliot Kalb, and many thanks to the sensational crew that we have at Turner Sports. Again, the final score, the Lakers 100 and the Spurs 92. Lakers take the series in 5 as they head to the finals. Coming up, we'll return to Staples Center with more of Inside the NBA. Ernie, Charles, Kenny, and Magic on hand. And so for Craig and Doug, I'm Marv Albert saying good night from Los Angeles.